Welcome back to America in Black. I'm Special Correspondent Ed Gordon. The Supreme Court decision to strike down affirmative action last summer has sparked attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in colleges and corporate America. The programs, known as DEI, were created to address centuries of injustice that Black Americans and other marginalized communities have endured. While some critics claim DEI is discriminatory against white people and ineffective, others say the battle is already causing vital programs to be unfairly erased.
There's a war over three simple letters: DEI, the right-wing politicians and pundits defining their terms.
DEI, which stands for didn't earn it.
Discrimination, exclusion, and indoctrination.
Divisive, erroneous, and insidious.
Advocates say diversity, equity, and inclusion programs are under siege.
We are declaring war against the DEI bureaucracy.
Seen by some as a helping hand for Black Americans and other minorities.
If I see a Black pilot, I'm gonna be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Attacking DEI programs has become a crusade for those who say the programs discriminate against white people. Already this year, lawmakers nationwide have proposed at least 60 measures restricting DEI initiatives.
This is called equity, not reverse racism.
California Congresswoman Maxine Waters is a longtime champion for diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Is it fair to call it an attack?
Absolutely, it is fair to call it an attack, because that's precisely what it is. It's mean, it's disrespectful, it's dishonorable.
As the former chair and ranking member of the House Financial Services Committee, she says winning this fight is crucial.
This is all about everything. It is a direct attempt now to stop the possibility for advancement and improvement of people of color.
DEI has always been under attack.
New York University professor Pamela Newkirk studied the impact of DE&I and authored a book on diversity.
We made progress in the 70s. We saw many of those gains wiped away in the 80s, and we started revving up again in the 90s. So this is nothing new.
We will terminate every diversity, equity, and inclusion program across the entire federal government.
These programs are vulnerable, from Hollywood to hospitals to pro sports. And some of the biggest battles are happening on college campuses across the country. At the University of Texas in Austin, a new state law is erasing DEI trainings, staff, and groups. Black students like Hayla Payne are less than 5% of the population of this flagship campus.
How much did you know, understand, and/or think about DE&I and how it impacted you?
I didn't look at diversity, equity, and inclusion as a title. It just seemed more of, they've just created spaces for us, and I'm grateful for that.
She considered this room a safe space for people who look like her. It used to be a multicultural engagement center for minority student groups. But this semester, the university decommissioned the center, removing its name and reassigning staff.
Kind of felt like they just ripped our identity away.
It's a way to kind of get rid of spaces for us and almost erase us from the university in general.
Aaliyah Barlow is president of the Black Student Alliance.
Do you think that it is that calculated? They literally want to eradicate, erase African Americans, people of color, LGBTQ, all that falls under that umbrella?
Yes, because places like this, they increase diversity in universities. And so they know what they're doing by getting rid of these places. It's just going to make diversity decrease.
In April, the university announced it would be getting rid of its former diversity division entirely.
As a UT alum, I am mad.
This was a breach of trust. We feel like we were hoodwinked, we were bamboozled.
At least 57 employees will lose their jobs.
These are firings, terminations. They're not coming back into those positions. They're fired.
There will be no reauthorizing, renaming, or relaunching the DEI efforts under other strategies.
The university declined America in Black's interview request, but said the new cuts were made to address redundancies after an initial round of cuts to comply with state law.
We will be the first state in these United States to wipe out DEI at our public universities.
Florida was the first, followed by states including Texas, Utah, Alabama, and Iowa, striking DEI programs and staff from public colleges. DE&I was sparked from battles for civil rights for Black people in the 1960s, and later expanded to include anyone who had been traditionally denied access to wealth, resources, and power in America. Supporters argue everyone benefits from diverse viewpoints and backgrounds. But critics say DEI is just another name for racial quotas that weaken qualifications and punish white people.
It is absolutely unfair to demand, in many ways, even though it's not spoken about, that you have to be exceptional, that you have to be smarter, that you have to be chosen in order to move forward.
The current backlash comes after a boom in DEI spending, ignited by the racial reckoning in 2020.
A new generation of Apple, more diverse than the one that came before.
Corporations pledge staff billions of dollars in resources, hoping to correct decades of the status quo.
Let's talk a little bit about the environment post-George Floyd with corporate America and what they saw as their solution.
There was this outpouring of apologies and we'll do better. I don't think that it lasted, and we're definitely now in a period of recession.
4 years later, some believe the corporate battle cry for fairness is now nothing more than a whimper. Companies including Google, Meta, and Zoom defunded and lost DEI staff and programs.
None of this is rocket science. It's all doable. They are models that have been shown to, realize diversity, equity, and inclusion. But you need all of those elements. You need policy, but you need leadership and you need intention.
Think ahead, be informed, don't go backwards.
Countering the assault is top of mind for Michael C. Hyter, the president and CEO of the Executive Leadership Council, an organization made up of corporate America's most senior and powerful Black executives.
We know it's illegal to discriminate in terms of hiring, but it isn't illegal to address inequities within the system, within the organization.
When we look at who sits on boards of elite Fortune 100 companies, the numbers are flat. Black women make up about 5% of those with board seats, and Black men's numbers have declined in the last 2 decades, making up only 7%. Advocates have long argued that better DEI efforts add more qualified Black talent to the pipeline.
It's not about giving somebody something, making sure they have something they don't deserve. This is about a democracy that gets stronger, about businesses who improve, because the more they have talented people, the more the bottom line is good for them.
Sometimes you need to be reminded, I made it, everything's great. Yeah, but you could do more. If you're on a board, there should be more Black folks that become board ready as a result of your being on a board.
Back in Texas, Black UT students past and present continue to strategize on how best to push back.
This isn't anything we haven't seen before.
Black Alumni Network President Eddie Blackwell is helping current students navigate the turbulent times.
When you hear things like we're getting rid of mandatory diversity training, we're getting rid of some of the departments who oversaw things like that, what's your level of concern there?
It's high. It's a multi-threaded question, right? Concern with the university, high. My concern is moderate right now for the students because I know they know their history. I know they know what the finish line looks like, and that the work continues.
In spite of national protest, many colleges across the country have also begun to eliminate DEI jobs and programs.
From a community perspective, that's young and old. We've got to get to the polls. This starts at the legislature. That's where this thing begins and ends.
How optimistic are you that some of this can be salvaged?
I'm gonna say I'm not the most optimistic about it, but I do want to make sure that we don't go down without a fight.